The warning sirens had fallen silent 3 cycles ago. The Carzon pack, apex predators of the Andromeda Reach, had claimed another system. Their alpha stood on the Obsidian Plateau, overlooking the conquered cities below, satisfaction rumbling deep in its chest. The humans had fled like all the others, weak, pathetic mammals that crumbled before true strength. The young ones grow restless. One of the lieutenants growled, its 6 eyes fixed on the alpha. The alpha dismissed the concern with a flick of its armored tail. Let them hunt the stragglers. The cubs need to taste victory. It was a mistake that would echo across the galaxy. Tirak had been barely past his naming day when the alpha led the pack into human territory. He remembered the briefings. Humans were soft-skinned, technologically dependent, and most importantly, afraid. They always ran. Every species did, eventually, when faced with Carzon fury. But the human settlement on Epsilon 7 was different. The pack of young Carzon had cornered what they thought were the last survivors in a mining facility. Tirak led his siblings through the darkened corridors, their thermal vision painting the world in shades of heat and shadow. They expected cowering prey. Instead, they found Rhea Callan. She stood alone in the facility's central hub, no weapon in hand, no armor on her frame, just a human woman in work coveralls, covered in dust and dried blood. Tirak's hunting instincts screamed at him to strike, but something made him pause. The human wasn't running. She wasn't even afraid. "You're just kids," she said softly, her translator crackling. "Aren't you?" Tirak's siblings circled her, growling, snapping their jaws. But Tirak himself remained still, studying this strange creature. In Carzon culture, prey didn't speak. Prey didn't stand. "Your alpha left you here," Rhea continued, taking a single step forward. The movement sent 3 of Tirak's siblings skittering back. "You're supposed to prove yourselves by killing whatever's left. That's how it works, isn't it?" Tirak's throat rumbled with a warning. "You know nothing of Carzon ways. I know your children being used as executioners." Rhea's eyes, those unsettling forward-facing eyes that humans possessed, locked on to Tirak's. "I know your alpha sent you down here because it doesn't care if you live or die. You're expendable. Just another generation of weapons." The words struck something deep in Tirak's chest. The alpha had been dismissive, casual, sending the young ones to clean up, while the true warriors claimed glory. "We are hunters," Tirak snarled, but the conviction felt hollow. Rhea smiled, sad and knowing. "So were we, once. Then we learned something better." She gestured around the facility. "You know what this place is? It's a school. We were teaching the colony's children about geology and mineral extraction, about building instead of taking." "Weakness," one of Tirak's siblings spat. "Survival," Rhea corrected. "Your pack has conquered 17 systems in the last decade. How many of those worlds can still support life? How many did you strip to bone before moving on?" She let the silence answer. "Humans learned the hard way, conquer everything, and you're left ruling ashes. But build, preserve, teach." She tapped her chest. "That's how you inherit the stars." They should have killed her. Every instinct, every lesson from the pack demanded it. But Tirak and his siblings didn't. Instead, they listened. Rhea showed them the school's archives. Human history, brutal and honest. Wars that consumed continents. Weapons that cracked planets. And the painful, halting journey towards something better. She showed them human children learning alongside a dozen other species. She showed them ships built for exploration, not conquest. She showed them what the Carzon could become, if they chose to. "Your alpha will kill you for this," Tirak said after 3 days of learning. "For not killing me. For listening to prey." Rhea nodded slowly. "Probably. Unless you show it something it can't ignore. What could make the alpha listen?" The human's smile was sharp as steel. "Strength it can't defeat." The alpha noticed the young one's absence on the 5th day. By then, it was too late. Tirak led his siblings back to the Carzon encampment, But they didn't slink in like chastened cubs. They marched. Each young Carzon wore human armor, not the fragile envirosuits, but combat gear, powered exoskeletons designed for humans but adapted, modified, improved. On their backs, they carried human weapons, but also tools. Fabricators, medical supplies, seeds for terraforming. The Alpha rose from its throne, rage building. You dare return wearing the skin of prey? Tirok removed his helmet, meeting the Alpha's gaze without flinching. We return wearing the future. He gestured to his siblings. The human taught us something the pack never did, that strength isn't just the ability to destroy. It's the ability to build, to adapt, to survive not by consuming everything, but by making allies. Heresy. The Alpha's lieutenant lunged forward, claws extended. Tirok didn't draw a weapon. He simply activated the armor's defensive field, a shimmering barrier that turned the lieutenant's strike aside like it was nothing. The humans have technology we've never dreamed of. Medical advances that could double our lifespan. Terraforming knowledge that could make barren worlds into hunting grounds that never deplete. He took a step toward the Alpha. They offered to teach us, not as conquered prey, as partners. The Alpha's growl shook the plateau. You would have us bow to humans? I would have us learn from them, Tirok countered. The pack has conquered 17 systems. Humanity has peacefully settled in 400, and those worlds still thrive. Which is true strength, Alpha? Leaving corpses in your wake, or building something that lasts? The silence that followed was absolute. Every warrior in the pack watched, waiting for the Alpha's judgment. Tirok knew he was one heartbeat from execution, but he also knew that every young Carzon in his generation was watching, wondering, questioning. The Alpha could kill him, but it couldn't kill the idea. Finally, the Alpha spoke, voice low and deadly. You bring this human to me. If her words hold truth, the pack will listen. If they are lies, the Alpha's claws extended. I will wear your hide as a trophy. Tirok bowed his head, not in submission, but in acknowledgement. She's already here. From behind the armored cubs, Rhea Callan stepped forward. She wore no armor, carried no weapon, just a human woman, impossibly small beside the Carzon warriors, yet somehow filling the space with presence. She looked up at the Alpha and smiled. Let's talk, she said, about what happens when apex predators learn to cooperate instead of conquer. 3 months later, the first joint Carzon human colony broke ground on a terraformed moon. Tirok stood beside Rhea as they watched Carzon cubs and human children play together in the new settlement's gardens. The Alpha had not been easy to convince, but even it couldn't deny results. Human medicine had already saved 24 warriors from injuries that would have been fatal. Carzon tracking abilities had located mineral deposits that would fuel human expansion for generations. Do you think it will last? Tirok asked quietly. Rhea considered the question, watching a small human girl climb onto the back of a Carzon cub, who gently carried her around. I think, she said finally, that you cubs came back wearing human armor. But you taught us something too, that even the fiercest hunter can choose a different path. She smiled. She smiled. We're all stronger when we build together. Tirok rumbled his agreement, a sound that was no longer a warning, but contentment. The Alpha had left its cubs unattended, expecting them to return as killers. They had returned as something far more dangerous, builders of a future where humanity and Carzon stood as equals among the stars.